From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, a lot of people had a lot to say about the quarterback, talking about the Tide. We try to sum it all up and move forward. And we talk about freshmen in an abbreviated edition of the Mailbag Show. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it, kids. Shake it, take it. Improve your energy level, obviously, with the 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, but maybe your workout. Improve that with the vitamins and nutrients in the small little shot that you could take. Again, I take a half a shot, feel great, go in the gym, move the bar up and down, pick the heavy object. Improve your mood, improve your focus, all again with one little shot, 12 bottles in a case. Put a couple in the top drawer of the desk, maybe leave a couple in the break room, try to help it out, pay it forward. Some in the center console, maybe one or two in the gym bag, maybe one in your overnight bag whenever you're traveling. Take it wherever you got to go. It's going to help in a pinch. It's Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. We've been speaking to a lot of new players, everybody. Newcomers. Spoke to Ousmane Chroma. I think that's the way we pronounce his name. Spoke to him. Gavin Blackwell, good listen. Go check all of that out over on the YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to that. Subscribe to warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Top 40 rolling along, recruiting, climbing up the rankings, all the stuff you need to know. All over at warchant.com. All right, without further ado, then let's go right to the questions here. Corey, real quick, though, doing well? Corey, yes?
Doing great, buddy. Before, as we record this, I'm preparing myself mentally for the Dave Matthews concert I'm going to see later today in Alpharetta, Georgia, and it's the hottest day of the year, and it's an amphitheater, so we'll be outside on the lawn. So if I don't sound all that excited and jubilant, that's why. Dave Matthews is fine, nothing against the guy. My wife is in love with him and has seen him 60 times, and now it feels like annually I get dragged to one of his shows. Anyway, let's get on with the questions.
I've been doing a good job getting these questions organized, not as much this time around, so I guess let's kind of go first in, first out. S. Quinn 67, which players in FSU history were the biggest public talkers that you can remember? Not necessarily the guys that talked it up on the field, but the guys that would talk, or that use the media, the public, etc., to talk blank. By the way, the confidence looks good. Let's hope he lifts some of the others and we get some swagger along with performance. Remember how much we were hated 10 years ago? Let's bring it back. The tears of our enemies tasted so sweet.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Deion. And I don't know that Deion, because Deion I don't think talked a lot in games. I mean, he did, before his punt return against Clemson, tell the whole sideline that he was about to take it back. And he did. But he was a guy that, like, when they played Auburn in '87 up there, and Lawyer Tillman was Auburn's best receiver by far. He was an All-SEC receiver. His name was Lawyer Tillman. I think he ended up being a first-round draft pick. He was definitely a draft pick. And Deion in '87 held him to like one or two catches. And he said, if he's the lawyer, then I'm the judge after the game. That's a great line, by the way.
Incredible.
But he would say that kind of stuff routinely in '87 and '88. So yes, he backed, and unlike we don't know about Castellanos yet, old Deion backed it up. So he's one. T-Buck obviously talked a bunch. I'm trying to think of offensive players,
but he's saying guys that talk. I can't remember the last time a Florida State player gave a juicy quote, especially not in the realm of what Tommy laid out earlier this week. Because he was talking about guys that would use the media, public platforms to kind of talk and drum up things, right? I don't even know.
I'd like to. It's a different era, and I'd like to point that out. Like, Jimbo didn't really want his guys to say anything. I remember he got mad at Jameis when they played Nevada the one year, maybe after the Pitt game, Jameis' second game, and Jameis brought up one of the guys in Nevada had a mullet, and that bothered Jimbo, and Jimbo wanted Jameis to apologize for it, and I'm like, Jimbo, he didn't say it rudely. So those guys weren't really allowed to, like, kind of maybe be themselves as much, but Terrence Brooks didn't care. He would call guys trash before the game. He's like, I remember talking to him about Florida before the 13 game, and I'm like, do they have anybody at wideout? He's like, oh, no, none of them can play. And then Vince Williams, remember, talked said he thought Jordan Lynch was garbage after that game. So there were a few personalities that slid through. Timothy Jernigan too was a guy that wouldn't mind just saying whatever he felt and would talk very openly and honestly and candidly, which was nice.
Pensacola, Noel, I'm sure this was answered at some point, but I see conflicting answers. Does Tommy have 1 or 2 years more of eligibility? Great show, guys. Thanks.
He's listed as a senior. He played in UCF's bowl game.
No, he played in their conference championship.
Sorry, yeah, postseason game, but whatever. He played in a postseason game his freshman year. He's matriculated as a senior. He's never appealed to the NCAA to get an extra year of eligibility. They seem pretty confident that if he wanted one, he could get one. He is technically a senior.
Yes.
It is not an absolute slam dunk that if he plays well this year and wants to come back for another senior year, that he would get it. But they're pretty confident to really confident that if they wanted him back for another year, he would be granted one more year of eligibility.
Next up, we go to R. Willix, 27. First time question asker. Love listening to the show during long drives. Which, by the way, I said this at the end of one of these shows last time, Corey, where like you dropped off prematurely. But somebody on YouTube said something about like, guys, the show can never be too long, and like 6 different people thumbsed it up, which is a lot. Anyhow, how many former Noles do you think we'd have to add to our roster in the way it's currently built to be national title favorites? Let's say one guy per position group since 2000. Who would the players be? What if I just told you 5? If you could have 5 of the best players from since 2000 to put on this roster, could that make Florida State a national title favorite?
Yeah.
Where would you go? Where would you like Jameis at quarterback?
Jameis obviously is one.
Keon at receiver? Anquan at receiver? I'd
probably go Anquan.
Okay.
Maybe Javon Walker when he was healthy, but I would go Anquan or Kelvin or Rashad. They got some options there. Dalvin.
Okay.
So you got Jameis, Dalvin. Let's go Jameis, Dalvin, Anquan. Then on defense, I'd go with they got a bunch. You want Darnell Dockett. You want Travis Johnson.
We definitely need a defensive tackle, though, right? Definitely need a defensive tackle.
But, I mean, you could go with, defensive end, too, man. Like, there's Bjorn Werner. I would say. Well, I
don't want to limit to 5. Like, what would make you feel 100% confident? What amount of players would they need from previous rosters to be like, all right, they are the I
think 5 is perfect. I think if you give me 2 defensive linemen, like first-round pick defensive linemen, and they've had plenty, Jameis and Dalvin. Jameis will make LaWayne McCoy good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even if LaWayne isn't great, he'll make him good. So quarterback, if Jameis was your quarterback, you'd already be top 10. Then you're adding the best running back in school history, great defensive lineman, and then just throw in, I don't know, a safety or something. Derek Gibson. I don't know. Maybe he counts. Dexter Jackson. No, he was 90s.
Jalen?
Yeah, or Derwin. Yeah, I would say 5, and you're right. You're one of the most talented teams in the country, and you got a chance to win it all. Okay. And you would probably be the favorite to win it all. If you had Derwin, Jalen, Jameis, Dalvin, and name a defensive lineman, you're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country.
Okay. Lots of questions about Tommy. Let's get to one of the first ones in here. C_Swizzle8. Wake up, gents. I know 2 completely different personality types between these 2 guys, but just as a hypothetical. If Jordan Travis would have spoke about LSU leading up to the 2022 season, the way Tommy spoke about Alabama, would the fan base have acted the same? I almost smoked Notre Dame by my damn self. Brian Kelly ain't going to save them Tigers. Love the show, guys. Go Noles.
Yeah, I think obviously Jordan has a little more built-up equity, right? Even going into 2022. Like, he had played 2 seasons. He had beaten Mac Brown twice, 2 top 10 Mac Brown teams. Probably would have he beat Miami in 2021. So he had a lot of more built-up equity. I think people would have cringed at that one too. I think the bigger difference, though, is that Castellanos has not played a single down, and he's calling out Alabama. which I know people can cringe at that. Like I said the last show, I don't mind it necessarily. I like that he's confident. But, yeah, the reaction from the fan base would have been I don't think they would have been stoked, right?
Yeah. But he could have said something along the lines of, like, look what happened last year when I was in games. Like, if, as long as I stay healthy, like, no one can stop me. Be like, that's a little much, man. You guys were 5-7 last year. But then if you go and look at it, you're like, well, they won that game. They won that game. They won that game. He wasn't there for that one. They lost that, So you're able to go through it and kind of audit. Like, actually, this guy's not that crazy after all.
Here's the question. Do you think Jordan Travis thought that going into 2022? I know he didn't say it, but do you think he thought he was a bad
I'm sure he did. I don't think, not to the level of I can't be stopped. I think, like, I'm prepared. I believe in myself. I believe in my teammates. We can do this. Yeah, not like I was on a radio show and they were talking about like the difference between being like brash and arrogant. I think
it's a fine line.
Right. I think Jordan would have probably, fallen on the better, what that's relatively speaking, but the more positive spectrum, I guess.
I do think, though, that in that LSU game, the second one, that by the third quarter, he probably thought that for the rest of his college career.
Yeah. He might have thought going into the game, too.
I can't be stopped.
Sure. Yes.
I can't be stopped. And he might have been telling everybody in that locker room that. Oh. He just didn't say it into a microphone.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he came into a level of confidence in 2023. I think that it started. I think what he did in 2022 made him really, truly believe in who he was. The way the season ended, the confetti, the Cheez-It Bowl. I mean, I'm being serious. I'm not mocking it. Like, it was a really good wrap up to that season. And there was no reason to think you're going to take a step back. And then they went and got you Keon Coleman and Braden Fisk, and it's like, holy smokes, they will not be able to stop us. How much? It's all the timing, though, right, Corey? If he would have said this about Miami or the Gators, like, I grew up a Florida State fan my whole life. Beating Miami and beating Florida is what I've dreamed of. They're not going to be able to stop me. I don't think I would have been that bothered by that one. Because, like, okay, well, it almost gives you some time to maybe assess who you are. But, like week one to feel this way about it's like, golly, man, it's bold.
Calling a shot, baby. Calling a shot, like Babe Ruth, modern-day Babe Ruth.
We go to our guy down there in Naples, M. Adams CZ. Wake up! Well, Tommy laid down the gauntlet, told Bama to bring it. We're not a 2-10 team. We're not the same FSU. Let's effing go. I don't care about the extra bulletin board motivation. Let's be real. Bama's going to try to knock him around either way, knowing the alternative is Brock at quarterback or true freshman. They would have been aggressive, he's saying. All right, so let's go right to question. Maybe this is my conspiracy brain talking. But I can't help but think that Tommy's interview was a design plan by Mike and the new staff to get some positive vibes going for FSU and the media, to get the locker room fired up, and then Tommy took it a few steps too far on his own. Do you agree, or was this totally a solo mission by Tommy and unscripted? Either way, bring it, Bama. They'll get their playoff invite anyway with 3 losses, so let's give them their first L in a packed doke.
I can't imagine Norvell was like, yeah, tell him, Tommy. I can't imagine. Like, Norvell just doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would want his quarterback or anybody on his team to talk quite like that.
But do you think he was like, let's get Tommy to do it? Like, I'm sure On3 reached out to people. I'm assuming like, hey, can we grab Tommy? And Mike's like, this would be a great idea. Tommy's, the face of our team. He's been a great leader for us this spring. I think it's a great idea. Let's go ahead and make it happen. And then, like, I surely wasn't expecting him to be this confident.
Yeah, no, but those are two different. They're two different questions. I think Norvell.
But I think that's his question, though. I think his question was Tommy's interview design plan by Mike, but Tommy took it a few steps too far on his own.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it was more like I assume Norvell, even though all these guys are getting paid, I assume Norvell still has to sign off on like a national interview like that with a national writer from On3 or whoever else. So I assume Norvell would have to say yes. And he's trying to get his program publicity. He wants his starting quarterback to get publicity. So it does make sense in that regard, right? Yeah. I just can't imagine he thought that Castellanos would be like, yeah, bring it, Bama. Nick Saban ain't here. You guys suck. Wait to see what we got. Boston College sucked. Well, I'm not even close to that. Like all the crazy stuff he kind of said. I think Norvell, when he read that, was like, oh no. But at the same time, just a little bit of oh no, right?
Yeah,
I wrote about and like we talked about. You don't want Tommy to be a shrinking violet.
No.
And he is definitely not. It's just he threw down a gauntlet, as Mark said. He threw down a gauntlet. Unsuspectingly, we didn't think that was coming in the middle of June.
Random_John. Corey, have you ever pulled an alpha move and tossed an article at Ira and Gene with a straight face and said, this is the best thing you've ever read since the last thing I wrote?
No, because we live in a digital age, so I'd have to toss a laptop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't print out the stories and throw them at each other anymore. But I could, because Lord knows everything I write. It just gets better and better, Aslan.
It does. It does. We all know Corey carries Warchant. The site would drop to single-digit readers and listeners without him. Corey is the Caitlin Clark of Warchant, period.
Right. Thank you. Aslan, don't take offense to that.
It's fine. He asked me if beyond what happened in South Bend and the brawl, what's my most shameless moment of career smack talk? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like in TV, I was never like, oh, I'm going to get the exclusive on you. I'm gonna crush this live shot. My ratings are going to skyrocket. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, but when I played sports, though, like in the moment, I don't know if they would have had, if there would have been interviews with youth sports kids leading up to their weekend games, if you put me in a microphone in front of me, I think I probably would have said something a bit hyperbolic. Because when I played soccer and I scored a goal, like I would Deion Sanders shuffle primetime down the sideline in front of the opposing team's like parents. Like I'm pro Max Williams, right? Like hit the home run, let them know who the boss is.
Right.
I don't know if I would ever like totally. And then people are like, well, you have no confidence in yourself. Like, all right, man, cool story, everybody. But yeah, I don't have a lot of great smack talk stories. I'm sorry, random_John. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, located over at 2475 Appalachia Parkway, the official, unofficial sports bar of Warchant.com, where the pros go when they want to watch a game in Tallahassee. Your favorite podcaster's favorite sports bar. 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tuesdays, trivia night, 7 p.m. Thursday, bingo night, 4 rounds, $250 cash money up for grabs in every single round. And happy hours, 4 to 7 p.m. weekdays. All the TVs in there. They'll be on a game. They'll find the game that you want. There's 40 of them and a slew of hardworking, smart people serving your food and pouring you drinks. Always a good time at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. We continue. Corey Clark, tennis ump. Good morning. With the 6 new coaches, including both coordinators and a position change, it's going to be challenging to do research on our new systems, as they will be watching different schools' films with different players. On offense, it looks like they will have to literally look at 10 different schools to see how our new players played in the past. How challenging do you think this will be? Thanks as always for all you guys do.
Well, I would think maybe 20 years ago it would have been challenging, but I mean, they have all these grad assistants and what would you call them? Like
analysts,
managers, analysts that can go and get every play that Squirrel White has ever run at Tennessee and just chop it up, just like if he had been at Florida State. So they're going to see, whoever the corner is at Alabama is going to see every route, if he wants, every route that Squirrel White has ever run. And they're going to be able to break down every play that Gus Malzahn has called for the last 10 years, or 30 years probably. And they can do it quickly. So it's not that necessarily. But I don't know how much it matters if you know what Squirrel White, how he runs an in cut or an out cut. Like, can you cover him?
Right.
Can you go leap with Deuce? Like, that's film study can only get you so much. It's not like Gus Malzahn is going to do a lot of trickeration. He's not going to do a lot. You know what's coming. He's going to try to run it down your throat and then hit plays over the top in the passing game. And Castellanos is going to run around. They're going to be watching a lot of. Almost as much as Malzahn tape, I think they watch Castellanos tape at Boston College. Don't you? Like, he's the guy that makes it go, and they got to know what they're dealing with Castellanos.
I know, but you already know he's really athletic. I don't know if you need to look at the Boston College film to see what he's. I don't think there's anything unique that he did at Boston College that they would not be able to extrapolate by looking at what Gus has done in the past and just marrying it to what they've seen Tommy do on ESPN. So I don't.
You'd probably watch it UCF with Plumlee, right? It should be a similar offense to that because Plumlee was as athletic as Castellanos, right, or close to it. I mean, he was a runner.
Yeah, probably. So that's the thing. I don't know if you need to go and look at the way Deuce played. I think you look at Gus, right? I mean, it's Gus. It's his offense. It's his system. I don't think what Deuce did in Los Angeles or what Javen Boggs did at Cocoa is going to really affect the way that you're preparing. It's like, this is Gus. This is what he does. The thing is, Alabama. The crazy thing is Alabama's website. Like I went and looked. They had a thread about Tommy saying what he said, and it's crazy. I was very surprised by the way they took it. There's a lot of like, I'm glad he said that. We need all the motivation, to get these guys going. But there wasn't a lot of like dogging him, I thought they were going to completely be merciless about it. But they are scared about Gus Malzahn. They a lot of them are like, if Gus Malzahn walks onto the field in a garnet mock turtleneck, my anxiety is going to go through the roof. I mean, they are nervous, the Alabama fan base, about going up against a Gus Malzahn offense. So I think that's what's going to get the coaching staff over at Alabama's attention as well. And their coordinator, Kane Womack, his dad was with Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss, so like they matched up a lot. So I'm sure he's going to be able to lean on like what his dad would do against Gus. But there's obviously things that you change over the years, and it's not going to be an easy stop for them. But there's still a 12.5-point favorite for some reason out there, everybody. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think and also I think that's the better point is that you're not really game planning for a receiver. You know that Florida State is going to have receivers out there. You're game planning the system, trying to know what Gus is going to call, what he likes to call in certain situations. I don't know that it necessarily – that's why I've never really kind of understood, like, not telling someone that the right guard is hurt. It's like, who cares? They know a right – it's not like you're going to play the game without a right guard. So it doesn't change anything if they know if I was going to say Rodney Hudson. Just to go back old school, 15 years, 18 years ago. It doesn't change anything if Trey Jackson's hurt or not. I mean, it changes how good the line is, but the plays are still the plays. They're not going to change the way they call a game. They're going to have a right guard out there. Florida State is going to have two receivers. They're going to have one or two tight ends, and they're going to have a really athletic quarterback and a running back. And they're going to call a certain number of plays. I mean, I'm talking like I'm talking to a 5-year-old, and I don't mean to do that. It's just that I think that's how you look at it when it comes to Gus. And they should be worried. Like Gus has beaten better Alabama teams. He's certainly beaten a better coach with less athletic quarterbacks than what he's got this year. Yeah. Like I don't know, like those Auburn teams that beat Alabama, a few of them weren't great at all. And so I think they had similar talent on offense to what this Florida State team has, in my opinion. And he beat better Alabama teams than this one. So they should be a little worried that Gus Malzahn, with a healthy athletic quarterback, man, you know it, Aslan. When Florida State would play these types of quarterbacks, they always give you a little bit of a fright. Because they just can make some plays that you can't prepare for.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what Castellanos gives you. He is he gives them a dynamic ability to turn a bad play into a touchdown because he's just really hard to tackle.
I mean, you think about the quarterbacks that did beat Nick Saban. It was like Johnny Manziel, Chad Kelly, Bo Wallace, those guys, not
Nick
nearly
Marshall. Nick Marshall, right? Cam Newton.
Yeah, so differing levels of escapability and athleticism, but they all were athletic and had escapability to a certain degree to create plays that were, broken plays, off-schedule plays, whatever you want to refer to them as, that helped those teams beat Alabama when they had Nick Saban. I know that they don't have Nick Saban any longer, but it applies to everybody. Florida State, we would all, Mickey, like a running quarterback, this is our Achilles heel. It's everybody's Achilles heel. When you're playing perfect coverage, when you're playing your assignment, but the guy gets loose somehow, and now you're on second number 5.4 of being in coverage, a guy's going to get open, and then a first down happens, and then, bad things happen.
I do want to reiterate, with Castellanos, it's not just, he got a first down on 3rd and 8. He might have a 70-yard touchdown run. Like the guy was 4th in the ACC in rushing 2 years ago and ran for more yards than Trey Benson and had more touchdowns than Trey Benson as a quarterback with, as he can attest, not much around him. So I think that we lose sight of just how rare this running ability is. It's not just a mobile quarterback. They're all over the country. There's mobile quarterbacks everywhere. There's a mobile Florida State had 2 quote-unquote mobile quarterbacks last year. This is a different type of mobility. This is a rare trait at the quarterback position. He is a electric runner that has the ability to throw, but he is an electric runner.
Career-long 45-yard rush.
Oh, sorry, Thomas. Sorry. Was that against Florida State?
That's a good question.
I don't think so. I think he had a bunch of 21-yarders.
Yeah, let's see here. 45-yard long rush. We had a 43 against Georgia Tech, and then he had it. Okay. No, it was a 45-yard against Florida State.
Oh, there we go.
In 2023, it was.
We've lived it. We've seen it, everyone.
All right, last one about Tommy, our guy Whack169. First, right out the gate, I agree with you, Aslan. Corey, I do not agree with you. I guess I'm one of the few that did not like the comments. Why do guys say stuff like that? What's the purpose? What does it really serve? Lots of I and me in that interview makes me nervous about how things will go if there are some significant bumps in the road, which I envision there would be.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point, that one right there, yep.
I mean, you can tell your teammates and your coaches all you want about how pumped you are and that you're going to smoke whoever, but why say it to the press? What does it achieve to draw attention to the person saying it? Doesn't he's not overly enthusiastic about it. He's still angry about it, even on Wednesday, he says. Side note here, if he's remembering correctly, last year before the Memphis game, I said that Memphis was going to win. If so, Aslan, why did you pick Memphis? The wheels hadn't totally come off yet because that was after the Boston College game. Did you see something in practice that let you know that further disaster was coming? You can answer because you guys ain't getting back into practice anytime soon, so be honest. Genuinely curious about why the Memphis pick. I was thinking about this because I did read the question a little bit beforehand. I think it was because that was Boston College's first game. So it was a bunch of weird cliches that don't make sense, but in my mind it did. It's the whole thing, like you make your best improvement, Corey, right, from game 1 to game 2, which that was the second game for Florida State, was the Boston College game, and they looked arguably worse in that game against Georgia Tech. And then that was Boston College's first game of the season. I don't think they played an F. That was like their first actual game of the season. So I'm like, well, if they don't look good doing this and Memphis is a pretty decent team, then they could lose it. And I was angry. So I'm like, they're going to lose. So that was my reasoning. Listen, Whack, you and I we're in the minority on this one. It seems to be most people are excited about it. This is a fan base that was just, hungry for some good news. The recruiting's been good news, but to hear a guy say like, I'm going to, because a lot of people are nervous about the Alabama game and know that your quarterback is, I got this. We're going to be all good. I get that that motivates you. And listen, it was said, June 23rd it released. I mean, is Alabama, I know a lot of their players, Corey, responded on the On3 story on Instagram with like laughing emojis and things like that. So, some of the other people in the media were also kind of making fun of it. But, ultimately 3rd and 7 is not going to go Florida State's way or not go their way because of what Tommy said. So, that's my thing. I just don't know what this really ultimately achieved. It just feels like there's possibly more things could go wrong than could go good. That was my kind of reasoning with it.
I see that, and I want to touch on the me and I stuff that he brought up. I will say this, though. It is just sports at the end of the day. I know this is what we do for a living, but say he goes out there and plays horrendously. Oh, well, life moves on. It's not like he gave us nuclear codes or told us where the next bomb strike is going to be. He's just talking smack before a sporting event. It's not that big a deal, and the sporting event is going to be highly, highly competitive, whether he says one word or 1,000 crazy words. So it doesn't. I just don't. I think I'm more heartened by the fact that he literally is filled with this much confidence that I am disheartened that he chose to say it into a microphone. Because
you think he was not, though? You interviewed him. He left Boston College because he obviously had enormous confidence in himself to walk away from Boston College in the middle of the season and know that he would land somewhere. I'm not surprised by any of this that he feels this way. I could feel it when we spoke to him in March. I'm just surprised he externalized it. I
guess, but what's the risk? He makes himself look like a fool. Well, that's on him. He did it. So there's not a ton of risk. He feels that way. I would hate to tell a kid, I know you want to say this. I know you think Alabama's in trouble, but don't say it. Try to be boring. Try to be boring or just be reserved. I mean, be yourself. If this is who you are, be who you are. Yeah. You're going to take some lumps for it, though, especially if you don't play well. But if this is what you believe, I'm all about saying what you mean, or meaning what you say, whatever that you understand, or saying what you believe. But it also can come and bite you in the butt. There's ramifications that come with that. He might find that out August 30th. Either way, the earth keeps spinning. And Alabama's still going to have good players, and they're going to play really hard, whether he said one word of it or 1,000. But going back, the biggest problem I had with it really was the
Boston College
criticism. The Boston College stuff and not playing with anybody. Because the way that's fine now as a Florida State fan, because what do you care? He's not necessarily wrong. And it's Boston College. You don't care about Boston College players' feelings or their fan base's feelings or their coach's feelings. This is your guy now. Well, what if he leaves Florida State and ends up at Vanderbilt next year? And then he's shown that he will throw an entire program under the bus at his next stop. So that's why, the whole thing about I'm going to say this, I don't care. If you start a relationship with someone and y'all are both cheating on spouses or girlfriends or boyfriends, well, you've started a relationship with a cheater. So there's a history of it. So there's a chance it could happen again to you because that's how you got in the relationship in the first place, is they cheated on their spouse. You know what I'm saying?
Why, you speaking from experience here, Corey? What's going on?
Shut up, Aslan. Shut up. So there's a chance that you're like, man, is Castellanos going to talk about Florida State like that when he leaves? It's just not a good look. It's not a good look, and you're right. There is a lot of odd. Like, I'm here to save jobs. I damn near.
I'm okay with the I and the me. The I and the me
ran the ACC. Like, what did he say about running the ACC? And I didn't have anywhere near the talent I have now. It's like, all right, man, just calm it down a little. I guess don't take for granted the 5 320-pound dudes that blocked for you for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
like those guys matter, right?
Yeah,
You might not have that at Florida State, so don't get it twisted. Yeah, you got some dudes that can run as fast as you. Can they keep people from tackling you? Yeah. Because Boston College had some dudes that could play up front, and it sounded like he completely dismissed all of that and just wanted to throw a grenade on the whole program. That I didn't like. That was not something I was very fired up about, and that was discouraging. But at the end of the day, I want my quarterback to be athletic, fast, experienced, and confident. And he's all those things. Now, let's hope he's good.
Meanwhile, Ridge not stopping their 10% promo when you go to ridge.com, RIDGE.com/wakeup. Use a promo code WAKEUP, all one word. You can save up to 10% off of your order. Ridge manages to blend design with heavy-duty function. You can change your haircut, you can change your cologne, but you want to keep your wallet for life. Backed by a lifetime warranty, it will be the last wallet you will buy. Fit up to 12 cards and cash in a sleek, elegant bundle. It fits in your hand so nicely, and in your front pocket, you won't even notice that it is there. 10% offer also applies to rings, key cases, and more. Head to rich.com/wakeup to save 10% and get free shipping and a 99-day risk-free trial. I'll be honest, my dad gave me this Yves Saint Laurent leather wallet that I was looking forward to using once my old leather wallet kicked out, but the Ridge wallet showed up beforehand. I'm not going back, I don't think. I like it a lot. Ridge.com/wakeup. Wake up the promo code. It's Wake Up Warchant. We're back, presented by Vitamin Energy. Last question of the day. This is a good one, Corey. This was possibly a generating discussion winner, but we'll do that tomorrow. I really like the first question, too, about how many former players we would need to become national title contenders. So keep trying, everybody. There is always next week, after all. Old City Nole 15. Wake up. I wonder what Old City he's from. 3-parter.
Oh.
They all deal with freshmen, Corey. Freshmen with the biggest impact in school history. Freshmen with the most hype that did not pan out. Freshman on this year's football team that has the chance to make the biggest impact. Thanks, and go Noles. I know he's not a freshman, but I did want to talk about Jeremiah Wilson the other day. Big fan of that guy.
Yeah.
Love that dude. He mentioned
There's a lot of energy there, huh?
I like that. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
He mentioned Javen Boggs. I think everybody we spoke to on Wednesday mentioned Javen Boggs, so he's got. I'll work it backwards, I guess, Corey. He's got to be the freshman on this year's team that's got the best chance probably to make the biggest impact, or
Chroma
is
up there too, I think. And then maybe does Weinberg count?
Yeah, certainly, man. Certainly. Yeah, man.
I don't.
To your point, if they're going to be
redshirted.
Well, yeah, no, he'll be a true freshman. I mean, to your point about these possibly being a little bit closer games, like, listen, they don't have a sizable talent advantage over everybody they're going to play. It might come down to maybe a few timely kicks or not knowing that you can kick a ball that's going to affect things. So that's a good one. Freshman with the most hype that didn't pan out. Unfortunately, I think I got to say it's my guy, Fred Rouse. All I know, he was a freshman. George Campbell, does George Campbell count? I felt like he might be able to come in as a true freshman because he was 6'5" and ran like the wind. That hurt, but injuries were a little bit part of that. I don't know if there's anybody that we thought. I mean, did we ever really have huge expectations on a true freshman that come and do something? They were we were depending on them gravely, and they didn't deliver. That's otherwise it's difficult to really criticize a freshman for not being great.
Yeah, I think it's more like what player showed up at Florida State with a lot of hype and didn't pan out. Not because you can't expect anybody to be great as a freshman. So in that regard, Fred Rouse is a really good answer. There's a number of them over the years. Xavier Lee, just because of the position he played, and he was the number 1 or number 2 quarterback in the country. I think it was him and Vince Young, maybe? I don't know. And I always wonder if Xavier Lee would have played in this era, what would that have looked like, and would he have had a chance to really shine? You hear stories that maybe he wasn't a huge football fan. Who knows? But that was a big one, I think. Unfortunately, when you're in a place like Florida State, there's a million of them. I think Marquette Smith was and this is going to dovetail into the next answer, but Marquette Smith was the USA Today Player of the Year in 1991. He and Derek Brooks, both from Pensacola. I think Marquette was from Pensacola, maybe not, but definitely from Florida. He wasn't from Pensacola. But Derek Brooks was the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year. Marquette Smith was the USA Today Offensive Player of the Year. They both chose Florida State. One of them you might still remember. He kind of panned out. Marquette Smith did not. And he was supposed to be like the next Emmitt Smith. He set all these rushing records, number 1 running back in the country, and he got passed up by the guy that is probably my answer for the first question, Warrick Dunn. I don't know that you could argue. I don't know who else is on the list. There's a few, but Warrick Dunn's freshman season won Florida State a national championship.
True freshman season, yeah.
True freshman, yeah. So I don't know how. There's others that are in the conversation, but I don't know that you can say for sure anybody had a bigger true freshman season or a more important true freshman season than Warrick Dunn.
Yeah, crushed it. That's the answer right there, everybody.
Oh, good. I'm glad I was here, man. That made me feel good. I'm trying to. Marvin Jones is another one now. I think he led the team in tackles as a true freshman. So those two, back in the day, Aslan, I don't know if you know this, Florida State had some dudes.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun to mention Derek Brooks, right into Marvin Jones, right into Warrick Dunn. That's pretty fun.
I was going to say some of that didn't pan out, but why focus on the negative? Did want to correct Marquette Smith from Lake Howell High School, Winter Park.
Oh, so is that like Orlando area?
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. If he was Pensacola, he'd have been. He wouldn't have been a bust. You'd have known. The name would ring out. Warrick Dunn would have transferred. Yeah. It was crazy though. I remember at the '93 Kansas game because Marquette Smith, I think, redshirted in '92. And then he came, which was saying something anyway. I don't know why he didn't play much his first 2 years, but his third year he was like the backup running back. 93 Kansas, that game where it was 108 degrees, and I'm like, oh, we finally get to see Marquette Smith. Sean Jackson's the starter. Marquette Smith is the guy behind him. Marquette Smith had some nice runs, and then I'd been reading about this new freshman named Warrick Dunn, and then all of a sudden the first carry he gets, me and my dad, we're in Cancun watching it in some horrible sports bar. And we're like, what was that? That was crazy. Like, even on that Florida State team, Warrick Dunn's speed, quickness, and ability stood out from the jump. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, Marquette, that's nice. Great. Congrats on the touchdown. Put 28 in the game. Yeah. And that was Marquette Smith by the end of that year was transferring to Central Florida.
Hell yeah. John Clark and Corey Clark watching the Noles in Cancun. What an image, man. That's incredible.
I'm telling you, good stuff.
I love it. All right, Corey's going to go hang out with Dave and the guys and the crew and his lady. We'll be back with another show tomorrow, Corey, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it, buddy. Let's do it. How'd that sound? Does that sound okay?
Fantastic. Clear.
Great.
Crystal is incredible. Newcomer interviews posted over on warchant.com. More to come later today as well. Check all that out over at warchant.com. Top 10 recruiting class right now. Check that out as well. It's all over at warchant.com. This has been Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.